Thank you so much for stopping by. So as you can tell based off of this title, this video is about 3 benefits and the 3 downsides to being an introvert.
All right, so according to dictionary.com, an introvert is a person who prefers calm environments, limits social engagement, or embraces a greater than average preference for solitude.
So I myself would identify as an introvert. I totally understand socially what it's like to be an introvert. With that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the 3 benefits.
Number 1, you're a good listener.
As human beings, we like to know that we're understood and that we are heard and that we're being listened to. So as an introvert, that can be very beneficial for friendships and relationships where those people that you're relating to are chatty patties. Let's be real. We don't really like to talk all that much all the time. In my opinion, gives room for those that are a little more talkative, or those who feel like they need someone to understand them or to be heard. It gives them that room to be heard. You'd be surprised how many people, like when I think about it, how many people in my life that I've met or had encounters with, and they like start telling me their whole life story or like all their problems, and they always tell me that like it feels so comfortable talking to you, and you know, like you're a really good listener. So that is definitely a benefit.
Number 2, you're highly creative.
So I'm not saying that all introverts are highly creative, and I'm not saying that extroverts or any other personality types aren't creative, but in my opinion, I believe it's because we spend so much time inside of here that we have a really rich imagination.
With imagination.
So that allows us to be able to find different ways to express ourselves other than talking verbally or communicating verbally. Matter of fact, there are actually a lot of entertainers and really popular celebrities that are introverts.
Number 3, you're very observant.
So most extroverts or really talkative people, they process things normally outside of themselves, versus introverts, we process things completely different. So we spend a lot of time inside of our heads. That allows us to notice things that maybe other personality types or just other people in general may not see or notice. So that introvert at a meeting or that introvert at a party may be normally quiet or a little quiet, and you may think that something is wrong. Believe me, there is nothing wrong. That introvert is most likely processing everything. They're taking in all the stimuli, they're taking in all the information, and they're just processing different than somebody who is more outspoken and more outgoing and more talkative and extroverted. According to Time magazine, introverts can be really great at interpersonal communications, and that's because they notice the small details and the small things like facial expressions and, you know, eye contact, body language. So that's definitely a benefit.
Number 1, people may think that you're stuck up.
So because introverts are genuinely more quieter, they could say that they come off as being standoffish or stuck up. Usually because introverts are in their tiny little home processing things that they sometimes neglect what's going on the outside of them, you know, via if they're at a party or at a meeting or somewhere in a highly social environment. To some people that don't understand that or understand how that process works, it can come off to someone as them being standoffish or like, you know, what's wrong with them or why are they acting weird. I'd also like to note that even within being an introvert, there are sectors or there are different personality types within that. You may have an introvert that is shy. You may have an introvert that has social anxiety. You may have an introvert that is antisocial, like they just don't with people at all. They're just like, hey, look, I don't like talking to people and I'm not gonna talk to people. Like, I'm just gonna come to this party and soak up all this, you know, stimuli, and I'm gonna go home. Like, so that brings me to my second downside.
Number 2, you're easily drained.
So introverted personality types can be overstimulated by social situations and around being like around a lot of humans, easily, which causes them to feel like they have to recharge their battery.
I'm afraid I don't know, sir. I couldn't find a charging station in town, and I don't have enough energy to process that question.
So does that mean you don't have enough energy to take us to the party?
Yes. You'll have to walk, sir.
Fine.
Everybody has that one friend who always asks them to go out with you, you know, you and your friends or whatever. You always ask them to go out and they always turn you down. You may start getting offended, you know, especially if you haven't known them that well, you know, and even if you have known them for a long time, you might start to get offended, like, okay, why they don't ever want to chill with me. I would say don't take it personal. They are just drained. I look back at my entire life, even as a kid and a teenager, and I tend to attract people that are more extroverted or more socially outgoing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't really like I don't really like doing certain things, and I'll be the first to opt out of it. And it's not because I don't want to be around that person, because I don't want to hang out in those places. It can be a little tough for someone who is more introverted and you have quite a bit of extroverted friends that like to like go to parties and clubs, because I mean that's a lot to take in. I'm not a clubber. I don't really like going to clubs like that. And even as parties, honestly, I can count on one hand how many parties I have been to in my entire life. I don't care for those environments like that for too long. I prefer something more intimate, something small. Keep that in mind as somebody that, you know, you may be dating as an introvert, or like, again, a coworker, a friend, family member, whatever, or you yourself. Like, it's okay. Like, don't think anything's wrong with you. That's just how you are, and that's how you process things. That brings me to my next and my last downside. Number 3, missed connections and opportunities. Simply because you didn't really feel like socializing, or you felt like you weren't that comfortable with socializing that day, so you chose to skip that company event, you know, or that event that could have potentially helped you to go to the next level. That can cause you to miss connecting with people that could be beneficial to, I don't know, accelerating your career or elevating your career or getting that promotion. Relationships, friendships, and partnerships are strengthened by building. You can miss out on some valuable connections, some valuable friendships, because you are an introvert and you spend so much time inside. You know, people don't really get a chance to get a real feel of you or really get to know you, because as introverts, we feel more comfortable in spaces where we know the people, like really know us. There are some introverts like myself where I could know you for like ever. Like, they're family members. Like, I haven't been around them every day to feel comfortable with them. Like, if I had to be alone with them in a car, I'd feel awkward. I'm basically saying that an introvert, like, some people may feel like, oh, well, I've been around this person like 10 times. You know, you may work with this person and be like, you know, I work all day with this person, or, you know, I share, not really a cubicle, but I sit next to this person every day at work. You know, how come they don't feel comfortable with me? Or, you know, shouldn't we have this type of relationship or rapport? But there are some introverts where if you don't really know who they are, if you don't spend like a good amount of time to where they can feel comfortable with you, then they're not going to feel comfortable with you. It's just how it is. So with some introverts, like, you may see their personality with these type of people. They're really social, really outgoing, but when they're around me or when they're around these type of people, like, they're super quiet and reserved. That's usually how it works. Like, introverts, like, I won't say introverts don't like to talk at all. Like, they do. A way to get an introvert to show you who they really are, or to get them to really talk, one, it's a topic or a subject that they're really passionate about, or something that they really like to talk about, something they're studying. It could be gaming, it could be fashion, it could be I don't know, whatever topic that they're learning about in school. That might get them talking, you know what I'm saying? And then the number 2 one could be if, again, they're very comfortable with you. Start asking them questions. That's an easier way to understand them and to know them, because a lot of introverts they don't really volunteer that information all the time, versus someone who's more talkative. They're more of a chatty patty.
You just talk too damn much.
And someone who's more introverted and a little bit quiet in the background, you know, we listen, or we may even hide behind that. I've done that a lot in my life. you know what I'm saying, just for the sake of having friends or having associates and things like that. You know, I'm asking them questions. I'm asking them what they like. I'm asking them, you know, how their day was, what made them tick. It used to be hard for me to volunteer information like that. So ask them questions. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for watching. And please like and subscribe.